Hey guys, welcome back to Micho Makes. My name is Micho. I like to make stuff. Today we've got part 2 for the Toyota Sprinter Trueno AE86 1/8 scale by DeAgostini. I previously spoke and I thought that DeAgostini is actually a Japanese company. They have a office in Japan, but they are actually an Italian company. So, learned something new and I'd like to correct that right away. But this is part 2 for this model kit. I'm really looking forward to it because let's initially just take a look at the pieces that we're going to be assembling today. As you can see, it's one major piece. Is the hood, the valve covers, and it looks like the head. From what I can see, it looks like the head right there. Got some more screws, oil cap, and actually the plug wires down here, or sorry, not plug wires, but the actual plug like holders. So what's really funny, again, as I mentioned in the previous part, that was what, less than $5 for the first one, I believe it was. I'm looking at. We're starting to get to the more expensive range. Let me zoom in on that. That first one was only like about $5, 590 yen, maybe $6. I'm sorry, 590 yen, which is maybe around $4 US. This one is 1,890 yen, which is equivalent of $15 about $15. So there was a definite price increase from part 1 to part 2, and they're going to continue to be this expensive. I was lucky enough I did not pay that much for these initial ones that I got, but any ones that are current and then moving forward, they are going to be quite pricey. About the same price, but definitely more expensive than what I paid for them. But without further ado, let's actually take a look at the booklet that comes in. Again, this is the hood portion. Again, more kind of flavor text, more information about the history. Oops. What I really like is cutaways of the engine and how it looks. Get that zoomed in for you. The 4AGE with the Tivis and how it helps with the forcing air back into the engine. I am not a 4AGE master mechanic or anything. I do love this engine, but I am definitely not a master and super knowledgeable about them. But I know that they, obviously are dual overhead cam with a Tivis, not necessarily like VTEC, but a little bit different in regards to being able to force air back into the engine and really kind of help with that top end power on the power band. More about the TE27, which if you didn't know, is a little earlier version of the Corolla, Corolla Levin, so Levin. And obviously we're working on a Trueno, so I mean, there should be some distinction between these two vehicles. If you didn't know, it's just a quick history lesson. There is 2 versions of the Toyota Corolla AE86, and pretty hardcore enthusiasts should know this already, even if you've seen Initial D. But just for people who didn't know, the Trueno model has flip-up headlights. The Levin model has fixed headlights. And I think it was just a design aesthetic of whichever people liked. These cars also came in a hatchback model, which is what you're seeing here, with a 3-door hatchback. So it's coupe with a trunk. So that's technically 3 doors. And then also the coupe version, which actually did not have a hatch. It had a trunk and then also 2 doors. So there is a distinction. And you could also get that trim level in both Levin and Trueno, pop-up headlights or fixed headlights. And there is a distinction, but beyond that, design aesthetic, they're pretty much the same. And there is some weight concerns because with the back, you had a more, I guess, aerodynamic profile with the hatchback, and people like the hatchback because of the Initial D. But with the The people also said that you did get weight savings when you didn't have the hatchback. So if you had the coupe version and it just had a piece of glass there, it was a lot smaller, less weight in the back, performance issues. You're getting more performance from a lighter car. So just small differences. And then this is, I guess, the Corolla Levin, but it's obviously the TE27. It's a little bit older than the AE86. Again, DeAgostini is pimping their dress-up items, which I unfortunately am not able to acquire unless I find them third-party somehow. I would love to find a way to pick these up third-party, just because it's pretty cool to see, the optional fog lights, the carbon fiber bits, the sport steering wheel, the sport bucket seats too as well, the Watanabe rims like Initial D, carbon fiber hood, sport exhaust tip, aero, the spoiler. You can see the Watanabe logo here, and then a keychain. Again, just a lot more ads. All the flavor stuff seems to be like in the first one, but there is a little bit more information here too if you want to read more about the TE27. Again, it is in Japanese. If you do want to, you can maybe use Google Translate on this on the camera and decipher that, but I'm not good. My Japanese is not as good to actually be able to read all that. And we get right into the building instructions. So this is actually a pretty small volume, but that's totally fine, because what we're really looking forward to is actually the building. So you can see we start with the hood. You can see the different accessories they have. Obviously the oil filler cap, the valve covers, which are very, very detailed, and they're not small either. See if I can zoom in on that for you guys to see it. And then also, obviously, the spark plug holders. I think those are the hood latch attachments. The screws. The detail also, which is crazy, is that the sprayer nozzles for the hood are going to be included in this too as well. So we're going to be assembling that. And let's take a look at this last page real quick. And then just putting the valve top end together. Valve cover on iconic blue top. There is two versions, and this is technically a blue top, obviously, because that name came from the coloring right here of the 16 valves. This is called the low compression version of the 4AGE. This is what would usually indicate the low compression version. And then there's a high compression version that actually came in the supercharged AW11 MR2s that were basically use the same 4AGEs on the block and head, but they actually had different bore sizes that actually made it more compression, so that you could run a supercharger in it, and the lettering on that was actually red. So this is called the blue top, and then they had a red top, so you actually could use that red top head to actually get higher compression, more horsepower too as well. We can also get into the difference between the black top and the silver top, which actually came in the later versions of the Toyota Corolla, Trueno, and Levin, which actually don't look anything like the AE86, but they actually had 20 valves. So instead of the 16 valves, as you can see, even states right there, 16 valves, it actually came with 20 valves. And there's a silver top and a black top, and those are, they gain a little bit more power, naturally aspirated, but still, by today's standards, still very, very underpowered. But when even in an underpowered engine in a light car, you get to go really fast. Anyway, um, this is kind of interesting. It's kind of a diagram about engine placement and how you have different configurations. So you have this when people talk about FR engines, it's front engine, rear drive, and it uses a drive shaft. This is a FF, so this is a front engine front drive. This is, I believe, rear R rear engine rear drive. MR right here, which is mid engine. So this would be like the SW20 and the AW11 MR2s would be mid engine rear drive, and this is all wheel drive. So or front engine, and then engine would be driving all the wheels. So yeah, you can see right here. Yeah, RR, FF, and then FR. And the Toyota Corollas, the AE86s, are the FR layout. And then again, another kind of flavor look. Again, this is going to be for kind of their archive purposes to take a look and as a souvenir too as well. And then here are the pieces. So without further ado, oh, actually it looks like they placed the nozzle spares first. My bad. I thought we were going to have to do that. That's cool. Without further ado, let's go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and get this disconnected, this book disconnected, and then this opened up, and we'll take a look at the pieces. Okay, I got it out, and it is, again, in a blister pack. I'm going to do my best to be as careful as possible not to lose any component, and that is, I guess, my biggest priority for this entire project, because it would be very, very difficult to replace any of these things. I know that I do have some extra screws, but, you know, you don't ever want to have to rely on your extras, right? Double checking this to make sure I don't lose anything like I did the lenses for that last one, but we're good. Okay, got everything unboxed. Let's take a quick look at this first, the hood, and this is quite heavy. Oh yeah, this is metal, no question about that. Can you guys hear this? I'm gonna do it right near the microphone. Can you hear that dink? That is heavy. This is metal. It is obviously spray painted, you can tell, but the details right here. To get this in focus for you, if you can see it, but this is 100% metal, and it's phenomenal. Even the sprayers, you can see the windshield sprayers. The details are amazing. I gotta be really careful with this. I do not want to scratch up anything. It looks like there is some flaws in it. I got a little ding here. It's a little annoying. You can see it right here. That came from the factory. I did not drop this. The little scratch right here. I think it was from the demolding, it looks like. Yeah, and it's just, it is what it is, right? I mean, if I really wanted to, I could probably like lightly Bondo this or use a little filler and then respray this. I'd have to remove the sprayers. But it probably will not be as good or color matched as well from the factory as what I'd like it to have be. But I think that for what it looks really well. Sorry, it looks really good, and I'm happy with it. Again, it's gonna be a massive model. Jeez. Let's take a look at these spark plug holders. Get a good focus on that. I've always wanted to find a model, especially a model of an AE86 that has engine details, and this is beyond my comprehension of what I'd like to see in engine detail. I do like the 4AG a lot, and that is so cool. Look at that, how detailed that is. I'll pull these all out, put them to the side so I can access them. Next thing I'll pull out and show is the oil filler cap. Look at that. Can you guys see that detail in there? It does say Toyota right there on the top. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can focus in on that. Can you see that? Right there. That's awesome. What a cool detail. Pull this up. Wow, okay. I believe this is part of the head. Or this maybe the valve cover. And this is metal. 100%. Let's see if I can focus in on it for you guys. I don't know if it's a pewter or another type of metal. Casting metal. I don't think it's aluminum, but it sure could be. It is cast, you can tell. But it is, wow, that's really cool. The detail and the fact that it's just got a heft to it. I mean, this is gonna give heft to the overall vehicle. And I think that's a really cool detail. They could have easily just said, "Oh, you know what? Silver plastic, cast it, you're good." This is metal. That's awesome. Pull these pieces out. I believe these are the hood attachments that we're going to need to put on the other side of the hood. And these as well is painted metal. I can tell. Cast painted metal. That's awesome. Look at that detail. The iconic valve covers. Now these are plastic. The valve covers are plastic. And I believe on the 4AGE they are indeed aluminum. But the absolute detailing on these, see if I can focus. It's perfect. The lettering is perfect. That is awesome. That's exactly what you expect if you have a 4AGE. It's blue top. Here's the center valve cover. This is plastic as well. And then the last portions. What is this? I have to look that up real quick. But that is a hyper small detail. I believe this goes on the the head. Aha. I can't exactly remember what this part is. 2D hose 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 connector. Connector. Yeah, hose connector. I don't exactly remember what this part is on the 4AGE, but that is a detail that normally people do not get in a model kit. Because that, I believe they are actually going to have a hose hook up to that. So they included it, and it is microscopic, man. This is a crazy detail that I really like that they put in. And what do we have here? We have screws. Two different types, it looks like. SP, this one's labeled as, and SM. And I'll double check this. And we're clear. So with two different types of screws, you can tell I'm going to have to make sure that whichever one needs to go on the metal portion, like the hood, doesn't get mixed up. So we'll go ahead. I believe the first part is with the hood. We'll get that focused up and we'll get that attached. Okay, the first detail we need to keep in mind is that there is a right and a left version of these hood attachment brackets here. And they are marked, clearly marked actually on here, which is great. And it looks like we need to insert them onto these holes here on the hood, and then use the SM screws to attach them to the hood. So let's go ahead and get that focused and put on. It's focused here. So on this side right here, we are going to be attaching the left one here. So you can see that on these, this is just awesome. There is a detail that is left and right. You can see right there. And then this flat portion right here is going to be on the outside. So we'll go ahead and get that focused on there. Fits real nice. We'll get some SM screws and use the screwdriver, Phillips head screwdriver we used in the last video. Very nicely magnetized too as well. And be very gentle when screwing this down. Perfect. We'll do the other side now. Here's the right one. Flat on the outside. Grab an SM screw. It's really nice that this tool fits perfectly and is magnetized. So they did actually give me one extra screw, probably because of people dropping stuff. And also, sometimes these screws from the manufacturer can be also defective and not have the right thread pitch, which might not work well. And having an extra screw is always a good insurance policy. Perfect. I'll keep this SM screw in the baggie and put it with my spare parts. But from that portion, the hood, as it stands right now, is where it needs to be, and will probably sit in a box for quite a number of weeks, months, waiting for the rest of the kit to be complete. We'll go zoom out. Because normally with hoods, they are normally the last thing you put on a car. You close the hood and you're good to go, right? But that is the portion that we needed for the hood. Put that to the side and we'll move on. Next portion is actually doing the valve cover, and the first portion is actually that hose hose connector right there. So that's aside. Grab this guy. We'll go ahead and zoom in here. Actually, maybe I'll drop the camera a little bit. And I mean, this thing is already super small, so I'm definitely going to be very, very careful storing these parts, because it's going to take quite a while to get to a point where we're actually hooking a hose up to this, and I do not want to lose any of these parts. It does not look like you have to use any kind of glue or adhesive on this model kit. It doesn't look like it's all snapped together, but you know, maybe that is an insurance policy I need to think about. So the way this is oriented, if you guys can see this piece, is we need to put this flat side portion right here on top of this hole right here. Push it around. Grab this end. Rotate just slightly. Insert it right there. Oops. Fits real nicely there. See right there. We're going to redirect it just a little bit more towards the center. Push it in a little bit more flush. And that hose connector is attached. Looks great. Next step is to actually attach this to this head. Now the orientation in the picture has it lined up like this, from what I can see. And what we need to do, since this actually has a little bump here, you can see right there, a little indentation, and then this little portion right here needs to align together because there is actually none on this side. It's flush on this side. So with the right orientation, that end like that, and then flip it over, and we're going to need to put a screw in right there, that hole. So it's not going to be the SM, it's going to be the SP, and I believe maybe SM might be small metal, and SP might be small plastic. So maybe it's just maybe more of an aggressive tooth on the screw itself to hold the plastic pieces in better. They're not going to destroy it, or actually there it looks like a, if you can even tell from this, a little I can see it a little bit, but it's got a little bit more of an aggressive tooth on there versus the metal one, which is a little bit finer tooth. So this is a little bit more coarse, right? There you go. And that'll be help with the plastic, gripping the plastic. So go ahead and get this put it in like so. And not going super crazy over tightening. I do not want to strip anything. So once I feel resistance, I'll stop. And it's attached. Next portion that they want me to do in the instructions is to actually get the oil filler cap installed. But we just need to go in here and plop it in. Whoops. And you can orient it any way you like because there are no threads in it. Push it in. It should be good. Again, I could go through this later on and glue all this down if I'd like. We'll see how it goes. I think that's probably the best course of action at this point. Next is the center valve cover, spark plug cover. And I do not believe there is an orientation for this, but there are 2 screw holes, so we do need to put the screws in. Excellent. Grab another SP screw. Good. Excellent. And finally, the other side of the valve cover. Put that down. Grab an SP screw. Again, being pretty gentle. I do not want to break any plastic parts. And we are good to go. Let's just sit and admire that real quick. If you like the 4AG, you're going to love the details on that. That's so cool. The font is perfect. The coloring is perfect. So cool. Next and final in this kit are the spark plug. There are no, I don't believe they're going to actually give you spark plugs, but they're spark plug holders, ignition, I guess, holders. They're not the wires, but they're holders. One crazy thing is actually they gave you details in the instructions on the orientation. So let's focus on that real quick. When there are going to be spark plugs, spark plug wires, there are going to be spark plug wires, and they will orient a certain way. So you do need to orient the angles properly. As you can see, this one is more straight, and these are more angled down. That's even more severely angled down, because to make it look good, you're going to want to have them angled properly. So, yeah, let's go ahead and try putting them in the directions that they say we should. There is a orientation too. Let's actually take a quick peek at that. There is actually an orientation where you've got the smaller part over here, where the spark plug wire is going to attach to the back on the coil pack. Not coil pack, but just I guess this is a coil pack, isn't it? Right back there. I want to put that in right here, and this one needs to be a little more flat. See if this fits in there. A little tight. I believe I have that orientation correct. This one over here. These do fit pretty tight in here, I can tell. So I want to get the orientation pretty good. They're not going to move after that. Sit up a little high. There it is. There it's seated now. So it doesn't want to seem to go in. But I'd rather have it tight than loose. I just want to get the orientation correct. There it is. That's pretty good, actually. How's that look? Looks okay? I think it looks pretty decent. This probably could rotate just a little bit, but I'm not going to be too concerned with it. I don't want to push it a little any harder than it is. That looks great. You can tell where they came out to at the bottom for these two center ones. And that is just a lot of detail in this valve cover. That looks awesome. Okay, so as you can see, we got the hood and the hood hinges attached, but also got a completed valve cover with tons of great detail. I'm really happy with it. I am looking forward to the third part, which is, I actually don't know what is going to be in the next part. Let's just do a quick preview. This is part 3 right here. I'll take a peek. Oh, look at that tire. It is one of the tires. It is the head too. So look forward to that one in the next video. But thanks again for watching, everybody. If you do like this video, please give me a thumbs up. That'd be awesome. Like, subscribe, you know the deal. But I'll see you guys in the next part. Thanks very much for watching. See you later.